Well, Super Rugby season in Aotearoa is done and dusted. It finishes with a 38-21 win, with the Highlanders getting that home win over the Canes in front of no fans. It was maybe a slightly disjointed one for the Canes in terms of them probably having to rearrange their travel a little bit, but no real excuse for this one. The Highlanders just executed better, and with tomorrow's game cancelled, yeah, that's it. Crusaders win it, Blues second. The Hurricanes missed the chance to go second. Not that it mattered. So the Canes finished third. Highlanders were always going to be fourth. And the Chiefs, winless, bringing up the rear. This game definitely had a bit of a Barbarians feel about it. This was a game where nothing was really on the line. There's only one penalty kicked. So I'm sure the Highlanders definitely wanted to get a win for Aaron Smith in his 150th. Congratulations to him. But yeah, for the most part, it was all about going for tries, and the stats of the match reflect that pretty well. I am a bit annoyed at this game because the Hurricanes were not wearing a jersey this colour. They were wearing their away jersey, which is like a horrible grey. And from a TV point of view, when you've got dark blue and grey, that doesn't sound that bad. But it just means when the wide shots, you can't get that clear idea at a glance how many defenders and how many attackers are on the way. You can't see this as a big overlap or there's, a 3-on-2 kind of thing. It just seems silly. And I know the Hurricanes are pretty notorious for it because they have different sponsors on their home jersey and away jersey. So I'm sure they are contractually obligated to wear the away jersey a certain number of times per season. But it still pisses me off because it just looks stupid. Think of a better solution, man. It's dumb. Makes Super Rugby look bad when you got two teams wearing at least similarly coloured jerseys. When you got a team in blue who should be taking on a team in yellow. I know the ref was wearing yellow, but the refs also have an alternate kit which they could have worn. Rant over. Game started with an arsehole try. Vince Arsehole, who was a bit too fond of the touchline in this game, but he started off with a try. Loose Highlanders ball. Geordie Barrett down the wing, and conversion. 7 points to 0. And the Highlanders hit straight back. They got a try through Punivai, who'd come on for Nareki. Only temporarily, Nareki ended up coming back on, but Punivai got a try while he was on. Again, down the left wing after a scrum. So it was pretty helter-skelter early. It was 7 points apiece. And also, when I mentioned him flirting with the touchline, he had a try which was chalked off because he had his foot in touch. And there was nobody really near him. Unnecessary. As unnecessary as the Hurricanes wearing their away jersey, Arsehole putting his foot in touch, unnecessary. It was a try for all money, but they blew that one. Princep got one later on that was also chalked off for a forward pass from Scrafton, so it was pretty quick succession. The Hurricanes had 2 tries chalked off. Eventually, Booth got one. That's this one on the 28th minute. It was Umaga Jensen with the line break. I think it was Jackson Garden Bishop that set him up with the good pass. And, it was, again, Highlanders loose ball. So the Highlanders had a lot of the ball in that first half, but when they would lose it, and they lost it fairly frequently, the Hurricanes looked just lethal on the counter. So, Booth ends up getting the try. He's got a bit of gas to him. 14-7. But then the Highlanders managed to hit back again, not that long later, like 4 minutes later. It seems to be a thing. It was Ash Dixon after a 5-metre line out. They had a penalty. They weren't going to kick for 3. Paid off. Line out maul. Try for Ash Dixon. So 14 apiece at half time. Booth was looking dangerous. He had another good run, but at half time it was still impossible to separate the teams. When you looked at the match stats, and Arsehole had another foot in touch, by the way, before half time. Twice he'd been in touch. Halftime stats, possession and territory was like 70% to the Highlanders, but the Hurricanes actually had more run meters with 379 to the Highlanders 243. That's a lot of run meters for one half of footy. Knock-ons though, 6-1. That was actually the Hurricanes with more. There may have been times when the Highlanders dropped the ball, but it wasn't a knock-on because their handling wasn't that good either. Tackling though, the Highlanders 74%, pretty poor. Hurricanes 91 that first half, but score was tied, so it didn't make that much of a difference. Penalties conceded. The Hurricanes found themselves on the wrong side of the ref for the majority of this game, and that was sure enough in the first half. It was only 3-0, but second half it's still them with more. Highlanders did kick a penalty early on in the second half to make it 17-14, so they went in front. They wanted to get the win, obviously. Collins got a try not long after that. It was like 14-plus phases. Nareki with the pass for the try assist, 24-14. They're looking to run away with it a wee bit. Tia had a try from a line-out move, but the TMO ruled that one out as well for a bit of obstruction. So that's 3 tries that the Hurricanes could have had. If they'd had the 3, that game was like really game on, but they go down the other end, the Highlanders get another maul try. It's actually a penalty try, and Savia gets yellow carded because he's deemed to be coming in at the side and killing the ball. So yeah, it goes from bad to worse for the Hurricanes. They're one end of the field getting a try chalked off and then conceding a penalty try and yellow card at the other not long later. 60 minutes, Mitch Hunt gets a try. They'd turned the Canes over and they showed some proper gas down the right wing. So it was 38-14, 7 points scored during the yellow card, and then Umanga Jensen got a bit of a consolation one with a grubber kick through. Mitch Hunt wasn't able to force it for the Highlanders, so Umanga Jensen went and forced it. So it's a bit more respectable at 38-21. 3 extra tries for the Canes in this game is very interesting, but wasn't to be. Run meters finished 615 to 671. That is an enormous amount. If I compare that to a premiership game I watched this morning, which was totally different, it's like not the end of the season, it's the first game back where the guys are rusty, it's wet, and the points really matter. That game had 208 to 207. This game is like 600 to 600. That's what I mean about the Barbars feel about this game. Position 43 and territory 50 for the Highlanders, so it kind of evened out a bit more in that second half. Tackling percentages both sides in the mid-80s. They both made 100 plus. Penalties conceded 12 by the Canes, 8 by the Highlanders, so the Highlanders were getting pinged a wee bit at the end, but for the most part they were on the right side of the ref. Mitch Hunt, 114 run meters. A few of them for his try, 2 clean breaks to try and a conversion. Had a solid shift, I think. Jack Wetton got man of the match. Karifi for the Canes made 20 out of 21 tackles. You'd have to say he's had a pretty good season. But yeah, that's the game, man. It was a bit of a cracker. Like I said, very much a Barbars feel. Very open. Just like really all over the shop, running rugby, turnover ball, counter attacks. Sometimes a bit poor. Like the set piece was pretty well executed. There wasn't a lot of time spent resetting scrums. There was no crowd there. Fortunately, they don't have to witness like those jerseys going head to head firsthand. They did have the fake sound effects going, which I felt were a little bit jarring at times. Maybe it's because the producers at Sky haven't had to do the fake sound effects of the crowd before, but they were very noticeable. If it's done properly, you shouldn't really be thinking about it too much, but every time they would come on strongly, I would be kind of taken out of the moment. But anyway, good win for the Highlanders, man. Congratulations again to Aaron Smith for 150. It's a good way for him to celebrate with his boys getting the win. Doesn't do anything for the log in terms of the Highlanders, but it's certainly a good way for them to go out on a high. The Canes, it does mean they don't get into second, so you can go from beating the Crusaders, who are the top team who had an unbeaten run at that ground for years, and then losing to the team who's second bottom. I guess that's just the way the Aotearoa competition works, but it was certainly fun while it lasted. We will wait and see what happens with rugby in New Zealand for the rest of the year. With a few more COVID cases here in New Zealand, it's still very much up in the air. But as I said, it's been fun while it lasted. If you guys have enjoyed it, do let me know what you kind of felt about it and your kind of key moments around the season. I'll see if I can do some kind of Aotearoa season wrap-up video at some point as well, because, she has definitely been a bit of fun. Alright guys, I'm going to head off for now. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.